Hi, Mike.
How's it going, Ian?
All right, thank you. And yourself?
Doing great. Appreciate the time. Honored to get to talk to you and want to dig into the album and the tour, of course, and look in the rearview mirror a little bit. But let's start with the album, man. An incredible album. I didn't think you guys could top Firepower. I mean, I thought that was the pinnacle, but somehow you did it again with Invincible Shield. And with the pandemic squeezed in between Firepower and Invincible Shield, curious, when did you guys start working on Invincible Shield? Did you take some time during the pandemic to kind of relax, or was it already done and you had extra time to tinker with it? Kind of walk me through that a little bit.
Yeah, it was a longer gestation period, definitely. Because of the pandemic. The big problem was that Glenn and myself were stuck on this side of the pond, and everybody else was in the States. So it was, we weren't allowed to travel. So we I was rushed a little bit. The other guys managed to get around it. Um, of course, Scott and Richie are in the Nashville area now, so it was quite easy for them to get their parts done. Well, not easy, but more straightforward. Nothing's ever easy. And Rob, of course, he's out there in Phoenix. And that was comparatively straightforward as well. But when it came to the bass lines, we went straight out of sort of the pandemic and straight into the 50th anniversary tour.
Right.
And the bass lines ended up being done in hotel rooms on the European tour on days off.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, Andy's with us anyway, the producer. Of course, he got his laptop with all the information on it. I only ever DI the bass anyway. That goes straight into the desk. Any effects, it'll just go on afterwards, sort of thing. So it was a straightforward thing. I just carried a bass around with me. Went to Andy's room. He was set up. One song, one day. It was great. Real sort
Wow.
of back way of doing it. Richie came in from time to time just to nod his head and see how we were getting on. And it was done like that throughout the European tour. It was like I say, a very tranquil way of recording.
Yeah.
You haven't got other people, there's 6 or 7 other people, with studio personnel, whatever, you breathing down your neck.
Right.
Come on, get out of there, it's my turn, So yeah, it was great. It turned out really well. And Andy was pushed, obviously, because he went straight out of the tour and straight into the studio to start to produce it, and put his magic to the completed project. But it worked out well. I mean, the main thing was that Richie and Glenn had more time to finesse the songs. We had very little messing around in the studio. We knew pretty much what the songs were going to be, which made things more straightforward for myself when I came around to do my part, and Scott as well, to put the drum patterns down. So yeah, it had its plus points as well, the pandemic, as well as the minus ones.
Yeah, and interesting to learn that you were recording a new album while celebrating 50 years as a band, while playing every night in the rear view mirror, kind of, and then recording towards the future at the same time.
Yeah, there's a comment there we're going to have to think about.
Well, it's a great album, man. I mean, I was literally like texting friends out of the blue, going, "Oh my God, have you heard the new Judas Priest album? You must listen to the new Judas Priest album." So I'm really excited to hear all these songs live, and we got you coming through Southern California, going to be in LA with the band that you've been touring with for a while now, Sabaton. They're
Yeah, they're a great band. Great band, great bunch of lads. Get along with them really well, and the crowd love them. It's a great bill. It really is.
it is.
Completely different to what we do. There's a different sort of angle completely to what we're doing, which is great. A little bit of variety. And like I say, it's a great bill. We were so over the moon with the first leg of the American tour. We I asked them if they were available for the second one, and they were, which is good news.
And I imagine as the album has been out long, I mean, the album came out what, back in April, and the longer the album comes out, sneaking more Invincible Shield songs into the set, maybe.
We're rotating one or two. Yeah, it's difficult to put too many in because every new song you put in, you've got to drop somebody's favorite, and it becomes more
Right.
difficult with each album. You're trying to think of a Firepower song as well, and of course, trying to sort of represent as many of the albums as you can, which is impossible. We just, just haven't got enough time really. But we do our best, to try and get that mixture right. Fans' favourites obviously on one side, new stuff on the other side, and then we've got a whole flipping soup bowl of stuff there we can drag things out of. We're trying to keep it as familiar as we can, so there's no sort of blank stares, sort of what the hell they're playing. So yeah, like I say, we do put a lot of thought into it, and hopefully we get it right.
And it's gonna be October 15th at the YouTube Theater. And I'm curious, man, you've been coming to the States for decades now. And is LA still Tinseltown, or is it kind of like, ugh, I gotta go to LA now?
Oh no, it's still Tinseltown. It's still very much got that different vibe to anywhere else anywhere else in the world. If it comes to that, there's always that different vibe about LA. It's always, I don't know. It's just it's an exciting, vibrant place. Even if you spend all your time in your hotel room, you still get that vibe. Which is more often than not. These days you sort of in, you get ready for the show, you do the show, get back, change, sleep, then fly off to the next place. But it's always got that special vibe. It's been there ever since we've been going to the States. It's always a pleasure to hit LA.
Is there any food or restaurant that you got to get when you come through Southern California? Any Mexican food or anything like that, or a special place for you?
Oh, I don't need the usuals, Rainbow, obviously, Barney's, the usual places. And of course, other restaurants keep popping up all the time. And sort of Lowry's, I think that's still there, the prime rib place. That's always been for a long time,
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's always somewhere to go in LA. It's an eclectic mix of just about everything.
Yeah, you get anything you want, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I was thinking about speaking of the new album and Invincible Shield, and kind of the kickoff to this was really you guys at the Power Trip Festival filling in for Ozzy Osbourne and playing at that back in October when you guys announced a new album and everything. And take me back to that moment, getting that phone call for that gig. And what were the I guess also too, what were the plans for the release? Because obviously that wasn't on the calendar, but Invincible Shield was still coming. So there must have been a quick decision to say, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and announce it now since we're doing this Power Trip thing.
Yeah. I mean, it was very hard not to play one of the songs as well, But that's we weren't there for that, and it was a great opportunity. Ozzy, he's had his health issues, over the last few years, as we all know.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do it, and whether Ozzy suggested us or not, I don't know. But we were the next stop, and when we heard what the bill was going to be, I thought, we can't not do this, So whatever we were doing at the time, we'd have dropped it anyway. I mean, the whole thing took about a week, to tool up, get a little bit of rehearsing because we hadn't played for a while, and get a set list together and play, and then get back home and continue to do what we were doing, And yeah, it was something we couldn't turn down. Couldn't possibly do it, But it was a great vibe as well. We know the other guys who were playing there. Although we didn't run into AC/DC, which was a shame. But we did see that the Metallica lads and one or two of the Maiden lads came around to say hello as well, which is nice.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, if you stuck around to watch AC/DC. They were about the only band that predates you on that festival that you must have been a fan of growing up.
Yeah, we saw the first couple of songs, and then you ought to get out of there, really. Otherwise, you ought to spend the night.
Right.
We were flying out the next day as well, so we couldn't really hang around that long and catch the flight the next day. So we had to make a break for it.
So playing that festival, did that speed up the announcement, or was that kind of about the same time that you guys were thinking of announcing the album?
We were thinking of it anyway, and it was just a perfect moment. It was a great, what a platform to do it on.
Yeah.
For all those people, and it's not just the people who are at the show; they're all filming it as well. So it all goes on everyone's Facebook pages and Instagram and whatever. So it was a great opportunity to get it over, and let everybody know that there's another album coming along very shortly. So yeah, it was a great time to do it. Great opportunity.
Ian, I appreciate all the time. Last thing I wanted to hit you with, Speaking of that festival, and you had mentioned him a second ago, we're an old school radio station where we do a feature called Mandatory Metallica, and you're going to be a part of that. So kind of curious your history with the band and interaction. You did talk to him at Power Trip. Did you get to hang out with some of the guys?
Yeah, yeah. Let me see. Kurt came around. So did James. Um, that's the only two I've spoken to, but I think another two of the guys came around as well. But yeah, well, it was great to see him. It really was. But obviously, we bump into each other all the time over the years.
Sure.
And it was good to see him. Like I say, and like I say, the same goes for the Maiden lads. It's good to see him. It's always good to see good friends. Which is one of the reasons we said yes to the festival. We could not, turn that away.
Incredible lineup. I'm curious, when do you remember when Metallica kind of came on your radar? When you first kind of heard about them, especially from an English perspective?
Yeah, that we were wary of them from a very early time. Not that familiar with them, but we definitely heard them, and we were well aware of the force they became. I mean, they had a meteoric rise there. For a while, didn't they? They came out of nowhere, and within a few years, they were ruling the world, sort of thing. Which is good news. New metal band makes it big.
Yeah. And them introducing kind of thrash metal too, which was something completely different at that time too.
Absolutely right. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite song of Metallica's we could play for you on Mandatory Metallica's? Anything come to mind?
No, there's too many of them. Pick one out for me. I love all of it, so I'll leave it to you.
All right, perfect. I'll pick one for you. I'll pick an old school one for you.
Yeah, yeah, do that.
Beautiful, man. Thank you so much for the time. It was an honor to get to talk to you, and I can't wait for that LA show.
Yeah, see you in a few weeks. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Thank
Okay,
you.
mate. Be safe, mate.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.